What's going on, guys? Ben here, Enos Tech, and today we're going to take a quick look at my final build in the Thermaltake View 22 TG case. Now obviously TG stands for tempered glass, which is a nice 4mm thick tempered glass side panel on here that we'll take a look in a minute. Jumping right into things as I like to do, as you can see, the front panel here has got a nice black plastic covering to it. It's not all the way see-through, but if you put some RGB fans behind there, you'll be able to see them through this, which is nice. And it's got kind of a curvature to it, and for some reason, me personally, it reminds me of like the Windows logo, like the old school one where it kind of went up and curved down. That's kind of what I see when I see this front panel here. Now, the one thing I will say is, as a lot of you will know, this thing is an absolute dust and fingerprint magnet. It's got quite a bit of dust on it there. I've had it out the packaging for a couple hours. I basically took it out, shot my photos, did a build in it, put it back in the box for a couple hours, and now I'm here shooting a video, and it's got a bit of dust on it. Obviously, I knew the fingerprints were going to be there, so hey ho, what do you do, right? But anyways, taking a quick look around it, on the top we have our I/O panel, which consists of the USB 3.0 ports. There's two of those. There's a headphone and microphone jack, and then the reset and power buttons. We've also got a very large removable dust filter here, which is quite nice. You can take that right off. Like I say, take it off, I mean, you can throw this thing under the sink and rinse it out if it gets a bit dusty. And it also helps when it comes to the installation of fans. So instead of having to rip the whole top panel off, I mean, you can simply just slide, I mean, you can do whatever you want, slide it, pull it, however you want, it comes off with ease. For those of you wondering, the front panel, as you can see there, that does come off quite easily as well. So obviously you can go ahead, it's rated to fit up to a 360mm radiator in the top and the front. So that's some pretty impressive cooling power that it's got to offer. There we go. Take me a sec to do that without breaking it. Alright, moving around, we'll take a quick look at the bottom of the case, because as we're starting to see more and more of, as you see, we've got a couple of thumb screws here. This is going to be for the mounts or the drive bays that are inside, but we'll take a look at those as well in a bit. And then we've got the removable dust filter for the power supply. So for those of you that like to put your power supply in with the fan on the bottom to pull air up and through and in, there's a nice little extra power supply dust filter there to help keep dust out. Now, the tempered glass panel is held on with 4 thumb screws, which will take these bad boys off real quick. As you see, it doesn't take a lot. Always be careful when taking the tempered glass panels off. Sometimes they do stay on there. I always just personally get a little bit worried about them falling and stuff like that. And as you can see, there's a nice build inside of here. We got the Thermaltake Ring Silent 12 Pro CPU cooler to go with our build here, because that matches. Got an Asus Z270 motherboard with 2 Asus Strix 1060 graphics cards. Yes, I know you can't SLI them, but I wanted to show off the full capacity of this case, and these are the only 2 cards I've got that match each other. So while you can't SLI them for performance reasons, for aesthetics and showing off the case, they do the job just fine. I mean, I've even got in between them, I've got my little Wi-Fi adapter there, because I normally hook this test system up in a myriad of different rooms all over the house to get things working. One of the things I like is we've got the nice power supply cover here, and they've even gone ahead, and I know it's a bit hard to see, but up front here, they've cut out a big hole. So if you do have a nice radiator and a fan here, it will go under here as well, which is quite nice. That way it allows you to fit that 360mm radiator in it that Thermaltake have listed on the specifications. On top of the power supply cover, we have two SSD mounting trays or 2.5-inch hard drive mounting trays. You can put a number of things in there. There are also a few other components out these days that fit into those type of drive bays and stuff like that, so it's always handy. But I mean, yeah, the case itself, it was easy to build in. Cable management was great, and this is the first time I've seen this type of cable management. You've got the middle bar here, and the cable kind of curves through it and comes out. So it's quite unique to me. I've not seen one personally before like that, and it works out well. As you can see, there's plenty enough room for graphics cards. Like I said, these are two Strix 1060 6 gig cards. As you can see, I've still got a few plenty inches there. So if there are bigger cards, I imagine 1080 Ti's and stuff, the new Titans, all that type of thing, especially if you want to water block them up or whatever you want to do. I mean, there's a load of options you've got. So why don't we go ahead and just take a quick little peek at the back side here. I will forewarn you, my cable management is not the best. It's one of those things. I'm still not an overly big fan of doing it. I do try some days a bit more than not, like as you can see here. I did try a bit to get the cables routed then once they get down here. It's a bad habit, you kind of just shove them out of the way. You've got the power supply cover there. So, I mean, that's exactly what that power supply cover is for, is to allow you to hide your power supply and the cables with ease. So, I mean, you might as well make use of it, right? But as you can see as well, got a nice Thermaltake Smart DPSG 700 watt power supply powering up this rig for us. And yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. As you can see, there's a nice big cutout here. CPU cooler installation. Obviously, I had the CPU cooler installed before I put the motherboard and things in here, but should I want to change them, there's a big enough gap there. One of the cool features is there are a couple of, it's hard to see, but you can actually mount a couple of SSDs here. You put the screws through on the front side, or you can just put the screws in a little bit and you can just kind of slot them in here and then slide them to the side and they'll stay on there. And then you can go around the front and tighten them up a bit and hold them in position right there. As mentioned, there are a couple of drive bays. Again, I've only got one SSD for my test system, and I've got a 3.5-inch hard drive because obviously loads of games and stuff like that. So I've chosen to put them both down here and out of the way and not utilize the ones in the front. Again, personal opinion, personal way I felt about this build. I was just kind of going along doing it, and that's just kind of how things ended up. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. As like I said, the cable management system, it's a nice wide bar. It goes from, it's about that big, you know what I'm saying, and it kind of goes in. There's plenty enough room to get your cables in there. There's no issues with getting a 24-pin power supply cable through there. It fits fine. It goes around. There's plenty of room to turn it and plug it into the motherboard. You don't have to worry about that. Even the USB 3 cable, it goes through there. It turns where it needs to. There's no issues at all. So again, as I said, overall, the build quality of this case is sturdy. I mean, especially when you consider it comes in around 54 pounds right now here in the UK, you really can't complain. It's a sturdy build quality. It offers a lot of features. There's plenty of space. And at the end of the day, it's really easy to build in. So that's it for the final build. Make sure to check out the written part of the review on enistech.com, which I will link to in the description below, to see the rest of my thoughts on this case and get a better picture of the inside and of around the whole case. I've taken images and pictures of the whole case. They're all on the website, and I'll go into a bit more detail in my conclusion of my final thoughts and what I thought of the Thermaltake View 22 TG case. As always, thank you guys for watching, and please check back in the future for more content.